Rain fell gently over the streets of New York City. The glowing lights reflected off the wet pavement, creating a beautiful but lonely scene. People hurried home after work, eager to escape the cold evening air. Ethan Carter sat alone by the window of a small coffee shop. 5 years had passed. 5 long years since he had last heard from Sophia. Yet not a single day had gone by without thinking about her. Sophia wasn't just the love of his life. She was his entire world. Every time it rained, Ethan remembered the day they first met. It was the first week of college at Boston University. The campus was crowded with new students trying to find their classes. Ethan was rushing across campus when a young woman accidentally bumped into him. Several books fell from her arms. "Oh my God, I'm so sorry," she said. Ethan smiled and helped her pick them up. The moment their eyes met, something felt different. Something special. "I'm Sophia," she said. "I'm Ethan." A simple introduction. But neither of them knew that moment would change their lives forever. Over the following months, they became inseparable. They studied together, shared coffee between classes, walked through campus late at night, talked about their dreams for hours. Sophia dreamed of becoming a best-selling author. She carried a small notebook everywhere and constantly filled it with story ideas. Ethan wanted to become an architect. He dreamed of designing buildings that would inspire people for generations. They encouraged each other, believed in each other, supported each other through every challenge. As time passed, friendship slowly turned into love. One evening, they sat beside the Charles River, watching the sunset paint the sky orange and gold. The world seemed perfectly still. Ethan looked at Sophia and realized he couldn't imagine life without her. "I love you," he finally said. Sophia smiled through tears. "I've been waiting for you to say that." That night became one of the happiest memories of their lives. From that moment forward, they dreamed about a future together, a small home, a happy family, a lifetime of adventures. Everything seemed perfect, until life changed. During their final year of college, Sophia's father became seriously ill. Doctors diagnosed him with a rare heart condition. The family needed to move to Seattle for specialized treatment. The news shattered both of them. The night before Sophia left, they met at their favorite spot by the river. Tears filled her eyes. "I don't want to leave. I don't want you to go," Ethan whispered. "But I'll come back. You promise?" "I promise." They held each other tightly, unaware that it would be the last time they would ever meet. The next morning, Sophia left. At first, everything went according to plan. They wrote letters every week, sometimes twice a week. The distance was painful, but their love remained strong. Each letter brought comfort. Each word kept them connected. Then, suddenly, everything changed. 1 week passed. No letter from Sophia. Then, another. Still nothing. Ethan wasn't worried at first. Maybe she was busy. Maybe the mail was delayed. But weeks turned into months. The silence grew heavier. He wrote more letters. He called every number he had. He sent emails. But there was never a reply. It was as if Sophia had disappeared. Completely. The uncertainty was unbearable. Questions haunted him every night. Had she stopped loving him? Had she met someone else? Was she okay? Was she even alive? Months became years. Eventually, Ethan forced himself to move forward. He graduated, built a successful career, became one of the most respected young architects in New York. He had a beautiful apartment, a great job, everything he had once dreamed of. But there was still an empty space inside him, a space only Sophia could fill. 5 years passed. Then, one rainy evening, everything changed. Ethan returned home after work. As he unlocked his apartment door, he noticed an old envelope lying on the floor. His heart immediately skipped a beat. He recognized the handwriting. Sophia. His hands began to shake. 5 years. And now a letter. Slowly, he opened the envelope. Inside was a single handwritten page. He took a deep breath and began reading. Dear Ethan, if you're reading this letter, then I'm probably too late. First, I want to say I'm sorry. I'm sorry for every day you spent wondering what happened to me. I'm sorry for every unanswered letter. I'm sorry for every tear my silence caused. The truth is something I should have told you years ago. A few months after moving to Seattle, I was diagnosed with a serious illness. At first, the doctors were hopeful. They believed treatment might work. So was I. I wanted to tell you everything. I wrote dozens of letters, but every time I tried to send them, I stopped myself. I was afraid. Afraid that you would put your entire life on hold for me. Afraid that if I didn't survive, I would destroy your future. So I stayed silent. It was the biggest mistake of my life. Every letter you sent became my source of strength. I read them over and over again. On the hardest nights, your words gave me hope. You never left my heart, Ethan. Not for a single day. I loved you then. I love you now. And I will love you forever. If life had given me another chance, I would have spent every second of it with you. But sometimes life writes a different story than the one we planned. If I never see you again, please remember this. You were the greatest blessing of my life. You were my first love, my greatest love, and my last love. Forever yours, Sophia. By the time Ethan reached the end of the letter, tears were streaming down his face. He sat frozen in silence, his heart shattered all over again. Then he noticed something else inside the envelope. A small note. An address. The next morning, Ethan boarded a flight to Seattle. Hours later, he stood in front of a modest house. His hands trembled as he knocked on the door. An older woman answered. Sophia's mother. The moment she saw him, tears filled her eyes. Ethan? Yes, she opened the door immediately. Come in. Inside the house were photographs of Sophia everywhere. Pictures of birthdays, family vacations, graduation memories, moments frozen in time. Then Ethan noticed a framed photograph surrounded by white flowers. His heart sank. He already knew. Sophia's mother gently took his hand. She passed away 2 years ago. The words hit him like a storm. For a moment, he couldn't breathe. He felt the weight of 5 years of unanswered questions crash down upon him. Sophia's mother wiped away tears. She loved you until her very last day. Then she brought out a wooden box. Inside were dozens of letters. Letters addressed to Ethan. Letters Sophia had written, but never mailed. Ethan opened the first one. Then, another. And another. Every page was filled with love, hope, memories, dreams they never got to live. That night, he sat alone in his hotel room reading every letter. Some made him smile. Others made him cry. By sunrise, he had finally learned the truth. Sophia had never stopped loving him. Not once. Not ever. Months later, Ethan made an important decision. Sophia's dream would not die with her. He collected every letter she had written, every journal entry, every unfinished story. Then he published them in a book. The book was called The Letter She Never Sent. It quickly touched thousands of hearts. People around the world connected with Sophia's story. Her words inspired strangers. Her love lived on. One evening during a book signing event, a young woman approached Ethan. Tears filled her eyes. Your book changed my life, she said. It taught me that true love never really disappears. Ethan smiled softly. For the first time in years, he felt peace. Later that night, he stood beneath the stars. He looked up at the sky, and somehow he felt Sophia's presence, as if she were smiling, as if she were finally free. At that moment, Ethan understood something important. Some people leave our lives, but they never leave our hearts. True love isn't measured by time, or distance, or even death. True love lives forever in the memories we keep and the lives we touch. And sometimes, a single letter can change a life forever. A letter that arrives 5 years too late, yet somehow, exactly when it is needed most.